Good morning, everyone. I'm Lucy Gray. I work part-time for the Charter for Compassion, and I run virtual events for other entities. I'm an educator by trade and do a lot of consulting work in that area. Marilyn Turkovich, who is the executive director, ran my student teaching program a gazillion years ago in Chicago. We've reconnected, and it's really fun working with her now. So that's a little bit about my backstory. We decided to do this conference as a way of bringing together people who are working um, and with things related to compassion, but also to bring together the people who've been really involved with the charter in different sectors so that they can learn from each other and potentially find partnerships and inspiration from each other. It's really exciting to see all the presentations that are coming in right now. We have like, I think 22 came in yesterday. So I think there should be a lot of great content for people to learn from live or asynchronously. Registrations are from all over the world too. So it should be truly a global event, and I'm super excited about it. Um, so I've run a lot of these events before, and the secret sauce is preparation. So if you're here, that's like the first step. And it's not a stressful experience unless you wait to the last minute with different things. So I will go over some of the kind of nuts and bolts and help you get acclimated. It's not a scary experience if you've never done this before. Um, but it just you just need to familiarize yourself with everything. So let me go to my slides. Here we go. Um, is this the right one? Yes, it is. Let me go up to the right slide. Here we go. Um, so first of all, we use so welcome everyone. Blah 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 blah. This is hopefully going to help you be empowered to lead your presentation with success. If you're not familiar with the Charter, we're a global movement that promotes compassionate actions and community building around the world across different sectors. Our conference is obviously May 14th and 15th in the US time zones, and we're starting at noon Central Time, which I'm based in Chicago. So that will be starting at noon with an opening keynote and then going to about 9 o'clock at night in the US time zones. Afterwards, I'm going to, between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. the next day, we'll have asynchronous sessions going and recordings going so that people can come in no matter what time they're, where they are in the world and see something going on. So we have, I don't know, we have a handful of asynchronous sessions that are going to be submitted, but the recordings also will be available from earlier in the day for people to review. So there will be lots of content. We start up again about 7 o'clock in the morning, my time, and go to 6 o'clock at night. And with these two different time periods, we should be able to accommodate everybody in the world who wants to present live. There should be some hour that's relatively decent for people. But if there's a problem, let me know. If you have any problems scheduling your and booking your session, let me know too. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Our theme is transforming the world together, which I think we're doing by our presence in general. And we're really, you know all this stuff already. The benefits from this hopefully will be you'll expand your network. We have networking tools that are built into the conference platform, which is Hopin or Ring Central Events, as it's now known. There's a speed networking tool, plus you can host um, meetings right in the conference platform for up to 20 people, and you can connect to people on LinkedIn and that sort of thing. So we hope that at the very least you expand your network and learn from each other. Hopefully, this will give you some professional visibility to other organizations, and people will benefit from sharing knowledge with each other. Um, and you'll also work on your skills for presenting online because I don't think this kind of platform is going away. I think virtual conferences are not the same as in person, but they can be incredibly empowering and enriching to our careers and our work. Um, I think virtual events will are supplemental and help that, we cut down on travel expenses and the impact to the environment. Plus, if we are in a position where we can't travel, the accessibility is huge with this platform. In a lot of the events that I've run over the last 10 years or so, not necessarily with this tool, um, the feedback I've gotten is that people have said, I feel like I'm up close and personal with people that I would never be able to see in person. And so just think about the kind of impact you'll have for people who have less resources and connectivity potentially, who can access your information and connect with you. It's pretty awesome. So these are some of the things that we hope that will, be beneficial to you as part of you sharing your knowledge with us. Um, and we're going to have keynotes, panels, workshops, lightning talks, and asynchronous stuff. This has been our timeline. You do not have to prepare anything for me unless you're doing an asynchronous session. That means you've recorded something and it's going to be shown during the conference as opposed to doing a live session. And I need those videos if you are doing an asynchronous session by May 1st. And there's a link, and I'll show you where that is, where you can submit it or you can email it to me, however you want to get it to me. I also recommend that everybody does a training session, which obviously you're here, so you're ready. It's being recorded, and there'll be notes from this so that you can review it at any time. I will post this to our toolkit, which I'm going to show you shortly. And so if you miss a training or have additional questions, you can always come back and review them. Each one might be a little bit different depending on the questions asked by participants. So, you can come to one or as many as you want to, if you feel like it will help you. So all of you have submitted a proposal and been accepted. You were sent an email where you booked your session. It's another form that you fill out, but it's much shorter. And you can reserve your time slot from available time slots. If you run into an issue, because right now we have a glut of people that we're accepting, um, if you run into issues and can't find a time that it works for you, that means I need to expand the schedule a little bit more and add more time slots. So let me know if you have trouble finding a time slot that works for you, and we'll work it out. I can always add more time slots, but I'm trying to fill our calendar. And generally, with this type of event, the sooner you book, the more likely you are to get your time of choice. So just for future reference, if we do this again. And then again, by May 1st, I need the asynchronous videos if you are presenting in that way. So this is kind of the checklist for right now. You should probably be in the create presentation stage. You have received an invitation to Ring Central Events. It should come from Ring Central Events, so make sure you look for it. I've registered all the speakers who have booked their session so far. If you have not gotten it, maybe you haven't booked your session yet, and I have not put you on the front page of our website. So we can talk about that later, but at some point it would be great for you to fill out your personal profile on the platform, but you don't need to really worry about that now. What you can do to help the conference is help promote it to your networks, to your friends and colleagues. Share that you're going to be at this event and you'd love for them to attend. And we have tools for that in our toolkit as well. And I'll show you that in a minute. When you're creating your presentation, there's no template or anything that you have to use. You can, use PowerPoint or Google Slides are recommended. Keynote and Apple's Keynote, which I love, is a great program. It doesn't work that well in Ring Central Events. If you do use Keynote and you don't want to move your slides to another platform, you can export them as images and use that, but you won't have animations and that sort of thing. So you can use Keynote, but it has to be like images or a PDF if you want to do that. Make sure that you have your contact information in there. And it helps when you don't necessarily need to put the sponsor acknowledgement in there, but we do have one sponsor, and it's nice during your presentation to thank them, but that's not necessarily required. These are just some suggestions for putting on your opening slide. Uh, we also recommend that at the end of your presentation, and generally, if you're doing a general session, it's 50 minutes. So present for 20 to 30 minutes and then leave time for Q&A. And there's a 10-minute buffer in between the end of your session and the top of the next hour. So there's a little bit of wiggle room, so people can transition or take a bio break or whatever they need to do. But that's kind of generally what we recommend. And I think that you find the conversations the most valuable. So you do want to leave some time for Q&A. I also recommend that you provide some action steps for people. Like if you're representing an organization and you want more people to be involved, invite them to be part of that, or suggest a resource or a program or something that will help people learn more about the topic that you're presenting on. So those are just some suggestions that you give, to kind of bookend your presentation. Um, Ring Central Events is our platform. It used to be called Hopin, and Ring Central acquired it a year or two ago. A lot of improvements have happened since then, including they've added session rooms, which are one type of room. They've added breakouts, so you will like in a Zoom room, and they've added things like confetti and emojis and kind of things that are silly, but they're fun for engagement. And some of the other features are, screen sharing, which is a little tricky. It's not hard, but it opens when you share your screen or slides, it opens it up in a separate tab. And so getting used to that takes a little bit of practice, but we'll go over that in a minute. And then there's a chat and a Q&A section in each room with polls as well. So if you want to create some interactivity in your session, you might want to think ahead about some questions that you might want to put in to your area, but it's not required by any means. So this is kind of like the nuts and bolts of it. There are two different kinds of rooms. Stages are more front facing, and they have a chat where participants will be in there, and we can broadcast from stages into other platforms. And it holds up to 10 people on stage. People who are presenting on stages go in through a special link to the backstage, and uh, and then we pull them up on the stage. People watch from the front, from the conference platform, and it lends itself more to kind of lecture based presentations. Those are going to be because we have to manually put people on stages. It probably is just going to be featured in keynote people on stages. Most people are going to be in session rooms, and I will let you know in plenty of time what room you have, probably towards the end of April, beginning of May. Session rooms are more, I think, interactive in a lot of ways. It's very similar to Zoom in that people can turn on their audio and video if they want to. We encourage that. We can also have your room moderated, so it's not so they can't do that if you don't want them to. Up to 50 people can be on camera and have audio on. Like 1,000 people can watch without having their camera on. And it has breakout rooms. There's automatic recording, so you don't have to do anything or worry about hitting a record button. It works really well for more interactive sessions in general. And if you do go into your room and practice and that sort of thing, it's not a big deal. We can tell what is your official recording from on the back end, and we can also trim things a little bit too. So I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done with these slides. Using Chrome as your browser is your best bet. I think Edge and Firefox will also work, but I would probably lean towards Firefox and Chrome. It helps if you have headphones or earbuds so that you don't have an echoing kind of sound from the platform. And it really helps to have good lighting in these situations. I've just noticed lately in the events that I've been doing that that makes a huge difference in terms of how everybody looks. And I just did an event for my college where we for our alumni advisory board interviewed people from our college, and some people were sitting in like darkened rooms and and it didn't look good on camera. It looked kind of and they're also the quality of their camera was not great on their device. So it looked very dark and kind of mottled. I don't know how to explain it. And so having some sort of I have a ring light that I have in front of my computer. I don't have it on right now. But that helps. I also bought a new webcam. My on my Mac, my webcam is pretty good, but having another one, you don't have to do this, but if you're concerned about like the quality of how things are, those are a couple of things that I've done to improve how things look for me. If you do, there is an app for Ring Central events too, by the way, and I think it's really hard to present from it. It's fine for consuming content on the conference platform, but I think presenting is a little tricky. So there, if you do have a backup device that you can use, great. Don't panic if you do. This is just for over preparation purposes. Practicing helps. So at the end of April, beginning of May, I will have a spreadsheet of everybody's session and everybody's link to their room. And you'll be able to go in and practice. These will be special links that are not for the public. They will let you go in and rehearse before the event is live. And so you'll be able to go in whenever you want and play around with it and get used to it. Um, and if you need me, you can schedule an appointment and I'll come in and help you as well. And so just this is kind of basic, but I think it helps if you um, have that in mind. In terms of your audience and that sort of thing, this is kind of some basic stuff. Hopefully, we'll have some moderators, some volunteer moderators. We're still working on that. We're going to have people floating from room to room to make sure that you're set up and ready to go ahead of time. But hopefully, we'll have some other people who can sit in your room and troubleshoot if there is an issue. In general, I have not found too many issues. One year, Ring Central did the first year that after they've been acquired, they did go down for a couple hours, and it was because it's a European company. It was a European company, and they had a server in Europe that went down and affected our platform for a couple hours. And I was livid, and they were very apologetic, and that situation has been rectified. They have other servers now, apparently, that can support the platform. Um, and I haven't had any other technical stuff other than people can't hear because they haven't clicked on something. Sometimes people leaving a room and coming back in solves a problem with audio. Sometimes rebooting a machine helps. There's kind of some basic troubleshooting stuff that we'll give to you in terms of making sure that there aren't any tech issues. But anyway, these are just some tips on promoting on engaging your audience. If you want to promote your session, here are some places you can do that. We have some sample tweets and social media posts that you can use if you don't want to create your own. Um, a personal invitation through email, I think, is the most effective way to get people to come to the conference. We have a pay what you can model. So if people can't afford it, there's a free basic, there's a very free ticket, there's a low cost basic ticket, and then ones that are higher than that. But we want to make this accessible to as many people as possible. So anyway, that's the story here. We have a social media toolkit with information that's built into our regular toolkit, and I'll show you that in a minute. After your presentation, you cannot download the recording from the platform. People can come in and watch them under replay. I will download every recording in the days following the conference. And I'll put them in a folder online and you can download your presentation recording and use it however you want to. You can put it up on YouTube or, share it with your board or whatever you want to do. You're more than welcome to do that. And we hope that you'll connect with people on LinkedIn afterwards and exchange information, obviously, during the conference, and follow up with any attendee questions. We have live text support from RingCentral events. Uh, they're not there on weekends, which I don't understand why they're not, but they are not. But fortunately, we're in the middle of the week when when this conference is taking place. So we can contact them. There's lots of guides on their website, and we'll have these practice sessions that are available to you. These are links here. Um, and if you need to look at anything, and we'll jump into the platform in a second. So we're excited about this. We think that this is going to help inspire action and build community in challenging times. I think here in the United States, we're reeling from everything that's going on and confronted with a lot of ugly realities every day. And so when we can come together, and whether it's virtually or in person with others who feel the same way, it gives us hope. And so I think that's our goal here, is to give everybody hope and to provide a network for people to kind of engage and share their work. So thank you for your commitment to this, and we really appreciate your expertise and participation. And so that's it for the presentation. Let me stop for a minute, and I know that's a lot of information. I'm going to jump into the platform and give you a tour in a minute, but I thought I'd take a minute see if you have any questions so far. Hi,
One
John.
from me, Lucy. I'm just wondering, is there a difference between the two types of rooms? I noticed the one type of room you mentioned
Yeah.
interactive, the session rooms. I didn't see a mention of interactive.
The session rooms,
Are they interactive?
yeah, the session rooms are more interactive. The stages are not so much. And the stages are, it's more front facing. It's more like lecture based. There is a chat with it, but that's about it. I mean, there's not breakout rooms. You can bring people up on stage, but it's limited to like 10 people.
But you can take questions through the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And the
And
session
will,
and the session
will
rooms are a little bit more self-serving. The stages, we have to have a moderator in there putting you on stage. And so we want more people to be in sessions than stages, in all honesty, because of limited, manpower and women power.
and with the stages, will there be a moderator to help with the chat? Because I've done
Yeah,
conferences before.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
There'll be lots of people in there who know how to drive the conversation, and we can pull in stages. We can pull questions up on the screen too. It used to be powered by StreamYard. It used to be a StreamYard stage, if you're familiar with that platform, which I really liked. And then RingCentral Events got rid of it and built their own studio for the stages. And I'm just getting used to it now. It's okay. Um, but I personally like I like the session rooms better because you're more in control of your presentation than on a stage. And I'll show you what it looks like in a second. Okay. Any other pressing questions or confusions that I can address before we jump into the platform?
So just out of curiosity, you said you have a ring light there.
Yeah.
We're very much seeing your computer screen and your
Yeah.
glasses.
Yeah.
Would ring light help with that?
Not really, but it's supposed to. I mean, I've done, very cursory research online, and there are a lot of videos about people talking, especially since the pandemic, of how to create the right atmosphere. And I'm not there yet. If I have mine is not on right now. Let me see if I can turn it on. Hang on. And I don't know if it will make any difference, but I've heard that if you have something overhead, that
Mhm.
it helps with the glare from glasses. So and I don't have my new fancy webcam plugged in yet right now either. So that's a little bit better, right? And I have it in front of me and kind of tilted down. And it's a big one. It's not like a little teeny one.
I had a couple other questions. I was
Yeah.
part of the Charter for Compassion's 2 week uh, World Interfaith Harmony Week sessions that they put out, and I noticed when they posted the recordings of each day, they were not edited in any way, and when they were recorded, they captured the audience, so people's faces were in the recording.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
is
So there are a couple things. If you're on a stage, you're not going to see anybody's faces recorded other than the speaker and whoever's on stage with him. In a session room, you the default is for people to be able to turn on their audio and video, so they could be visible. But I can also turn it off if you request it. I can turn off the audio and video people the audio and video access unless you approve it. So if you want to do a traditional presentation with people not showing, but they're in the chat and they can hear you and see you and interact in the chat, we can set that up in the session rooms too.
Well, I'm wondering if there's an option like with Zoom when I'm recording sessions with
Right.
Zoom, or when I'm recording it, I put it in speaker view. Um,
There's
so
there's a little bit. Let's take a look at it. It's not quite as good as Zoom because Zoom records in every single view, so you can pick which one
yeah,
you want to put up. I don't think it does that, but it there are some things you can do with your screen. I'll show it to you when we jump into the platform.
I'd like people to be able to see each other but not be recorded.
I don't think that's going to be an option.
That's not good, is it?
I didn't build the platform, so I mean I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. And you can just not have people turn on their audio and video, and they can still interact in the chat. They could turn on their audio and not have their video showing. So let me show you what it looks like. And then and you can see for yourself how it works. Okay, so this is the back end of the conference. This is what the front page it looks like right now. And you'll see when to get into the platform when the conference is live, there'll be a little blue tag at the top that will say join the event if you're registered. And all of you should be registered if you submitted your time. And this is the front door to the conference. When you're in the actual conference, it's going to look like this. This is the platform itself. And think of it as kind of a triptych. On the left, I'm going to click on preview event so you can see what it looks like when it's live. On the left-hand side is your navigation. In the middle is usually whatever you've selected, whatever area of the conference you're in. And on the right-hand side, there is a chat and other tools for interacting with other people. And that is collapsible if you want more screen real estate. So the basic platform has navigation, this middle area, and then this area for chats and polls and seeing who's online and that sort of thing. When you click on stages, this is where the stage presentations will be happening. When they're live, there'll be a red tag that says live, and people can click on here and go on into a stage. When you go into a stage, this is what it looks like. And there's nothing going on right now, so you can't see what it looks like broadcasting. But you notice that there's now a stage chat. So there's an event chat on the right-hand side, and there's a stage chat. And this is where people can ask questions and that sort of thing. And people who are on stage or backstage as a presenter can see the chat and interact as well. And we can also bring questions on screen too to make them more visible to people from this chat. A session room, sessions will be here. And again, if there are any live sessions, there'll be a little red tag that says live. The sessions and stage information will also be in the schedule too, which I'll get to in a minute. This is what a session room looks like. And when people come in, typically, they will be able to see what's going on in the room, but they will not be on camera until they interact and join the room. And they'll be and typically people are led through a check-in area here to check their camera. There's something called the pre-event check that we recommend people run to make sure their audio and video is there. Here you can check and see what microphone and camera you're using. You can change your background, which is a fairly new thing here. And then you apply this selection and you're here on stage. This is you can see it's recording right off the bat at the top of the window. It's the red dot there. It is currently recording. We can crop and edit the videos too. It's a lot easier for us if you come into your room and um, right before you're going to present and so that there's a kind of a clean start to your event, and that way we don't have to do a lot of editing. You can set up and then leave and then come back and it will start re-recording a new segment. So that's helpful to us, but you don't have to do that. We'll try to clean them up as best we can. You can see that by this eyeball that one person is watching it, that's me. So sometimes you may see like 2, 3 people on the stage, but maybe 20 people are viewing it. That means they're in the room listening, but they don't have their audio and video on. Okay. And then people can turn off their audio and video um, by clicking that. I'm still in the room though. I'm still listening and hearing whatever's going on the stage, but I just don't have my audio and video on. Um, they are going to, so we can set this so people can't turn on their audio and video. They can only hear and see you and nobody else, and they can participate in the chat. So if you want more of a traditional kind of perspective, that's one thing to think about. Notice that there's a session chat. We have the event chat. Now we have a session chat. And this is just for your room. The polls are just for your room. You can see who's in your room, and people can also put their questions in the Q&A section so that you can find those questions easily. Down below in the left-hand corner, there is host controls where you have breakout rooms. You can put up a session banner with your link to your slides or to your organization, and that will pop up on the screen for people. There's also attendee engagement, things like there's confetti, there's emoji reactions, and people can raise their hands. If you do not want these things, you can turn them off. So this is what confetti looks like. When people click on the screen, there'll be little confetti everywhere. So that may be distracting to you, and you can turn that off.
Could you show what the banner looks like?
Sure. So this, you put in your title of whatever you want it to be. You can change that if you want to, and then and write a description. And you can have it display as long as you want to. Let's say we do 60 minutes, show banner. And there it is here on the screen. And people can get rid of it if they find it distracting. And this is a nice way if you want to share your slides. You can share them in the chat too. But this way they're up here for people as soon as they come in the room. If people might miss it in the chat if you put just the link in the chat. And so when you click on it, then it will go to whatever link that you've put in there, which is nice. I like that feature a lot. I think it's a nice way to kind of promote your stuff in general. The the layout. So this might go to what you're trying to do. So if you want, there are different layouts, and it's hard to see what it looks like if with only one person in the room. But I think there's a way that you can, if you do the spotlight speaker layout, I think it's going to focus on you as opposed to the attendees. There's also picture-in-picture layout, and there's a cinema layout, which I believe doesn't show any person. It just shows what you're sharing on your screen. I could be wrong on that. So I would advise you to play around with this a little bit when you have access to the room and see which one works for you. You can mute audio. You can turn off your camera. and still be in the room. Again, here are your device settings, which is what you see when you enter the room. And then we have emoji reactions, raising your hand, and full screen, which I think is a nice view. There's also closed captioning. And then this one in the middle here is sharing your screen. You also will be able to, you'll have two options, share screen and share YouTube video. And when you share your screen, you can share just a tab in Chrome or a window or the entire screen. And I highly recommend using the tab view because they won't see all the mess on your desktop and everything else there. So when you click on, have whatever you're presenting on and open it in a separate tab, and then select the tab here, and you'll get a preview of it, and click on share, and they'll see this screen. What happens is, and this is where it gets a little abstract for people. If you can see the top of my Chrome browser, that red dot tells me this is the screen that I am sharing right now. I also get this bar over here. And so you think, oh, I've left my room. That's not the case. You're still in RingCentral, but you're in a different tab, and you can toggle back and forth between them. It takes a little getting used to, but this is the best way to present. And it's easier when you get into the platform to play with this than for me showing you right now. But basically, you're going to be toggling back and forth. And you can still hear people while you're presenting and all that. It's just presenting from this other tab. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, it's weird. I know, but it takes a little bit getting used to, but it works really well. So this is what my sharing, if I stop sharing and I share another tab, let's share screen, and I'm going to share my slide deck. I can click on that tab, and now everybody will see this is what it will look like in RingCentral events. And my picture will be down here in the corner. Now, I wonder if I change the layout, if I do cinema layout, that was picture-in-picture layout. If I do cinema layout, it doesn't show me on screen. It's just going to be my slides. If I do, let's see, spotlight speaker layout, I'm right next to it. That's what that does, which is nice. Crop layout will be this. So you get a little bit more slide real estate there. And then group layout is kind of like our traditional Zoom with people on top of each other on the right-hand side. If there was more than one person in here, you would see that. So that might be the answer to some of the things that you're thinking about. If you're doing cinema layout, it's not going to be recording people unless they have their camera and their audio and their video on. Okay, so that's what I would do is I would select that if, as an option. Questions about session rooms? Margaret, does that help you at all kind of envision how this works?
Yeah, I'm just wondering how that will be captured on the recording. So I guess just whatever is on screen is what's being recorded, which is different.
Correct. It is different than Zoom, yes.
And are there concurrent sessions to the
Yes. That's why we have people self-booking. We have like 2 or 3 sessions per hour right now. And we're asking people to, we want if those sessions are filled, then you can't book at that time. And so it's the people who are booking now have less choice than the people who booked originally. And if we get really filled up, then we have to expand a little bit. And so there may be more. We have, I don't know, 45 sessions that have been accepted so far, and there's probably another 25 for me to go through. So there's going to be a lot of content. That said, one of the things that I will encourage people to think about is, we want to, it's a community effort to get people to come to this event. And some people are not going to be awake when you're presenting, because we're working across time zones. And keep that in mind. If you have a low attendance, keep presenting because it's going to be recorded and people do come back and watch the recordings. And we get statistics on people coming back and watching the replays. So don't stress out if there aren't like 5 million people in there. It helps if you help co-promote things. It helps if your presentation is compelling and the title is compelling and the topic that's attractive to people. I think we have a huge variety of sessions. We have a lot of education ones. We have a lot of health and wellness ones. Um, they're all amazing that I've seen so far. So it's there are a lot of factors that go into making people come to a session or encouraging people to come to a session. And don't stress out about this. This is the first year that we've done it. I'm hoping that we'll have great attendance and people. But it's a work. It takes a village, not it's not one person driving everybody here. So hopefully we'll have tons of people, but don't stress out about that. And again, you'll have the recording so that you can do whatever you'd like with it on your own platform. Plus, people for the next year can come into our platform and watch the recordings at their leisure. Okay, so let me get out of this room here and show you a little bit more about the platform, and then I'll show you the toolkit. There is a networking tool. It's called Speed Networking. And when people come into the conference and fill out their profile, they'll be asked what their interests are. And this can match people based on those interests for short conversations. And it sounds kind of weird and scary, but I tried it at the last event I ran, and I met a teacher who works on a NATO base in Belgium, and she was awesome. And we had like a 5 minute, it's set for like 2 minute conversations, and you can extend the conversation, you can connect and exchange contact information. It's kind of a cool little platform. So this will be open, the conference will be alive in before the start dates. So you can come in here and you can, at any time and it will match you with somebody else if there's another person online. So I encourage you to check it out. Um, you can also search for people and filter people by their role. So if I'm looking for other, healthcare workers or faith leaders, and people haven't filled out their profiles yet, so they're not showing up. But once they've filled out their profile, you'll be able to find people. And then people that you've made connections with in this tool will show up here as well. So that's kind of a fun thing, and I highly recommend you doing that. Expo booths are for our sponsors. The one sponsor that we have, I'm not sure if they're interested in doing a booth, so this may not be active. And then this button here will take you to the charter's website. On the right-hand side, there is a schedule, and you can pop up and go into rooms here. It is also on our reception page, which is the kind of the main page. There's also a schedule as well here. You can add things to your agenda. Like if you want to go to this particular session, there's a button there that says add to my agenda, and that will be added to my personal agenda so that I can remember to go to it. And I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. So this is the reception page. There's a description, there's a schedule, the sponsors, and then there's speaker information here. And you can look at everybody's profile and connect to them on LinkedIn and look at their websites and that sort of thing. So that's the reception page. So we have reception, stages, session, networking, expo, and then the charter's website. I'm going to go back up to the top here. On the right-hand side, you can see that there are 2 people on the platform right now. You can see the event chat, the polls. We'll do those closer to the event. People who are registered, and here's a general Q&A for the whole event. You can also get direct messages from people. You can also turn that off if you want to. And any notifications, like we send out announcements periodically, usually at the top of the hour about the next set of sessions. Those will appear here. And then this circle will let you edit your profile, and there's some help documentation um, that is very useful that RingCentral has put together. So that's a little bit, of how that works over here. If there is somebody in that's a problem in a session, which we've never had, just be aware that you can click on their name, and you can report them with these three dots here. You can block the person, mute the person, or report the user, and then we get a notification. I think it's useful for people to know about this in this day and age, is if there's somebody who's problematic, we can do something about it. You can also send me a message through the conference platform, and I will see it and can do something about it as well. But this is probably the first line of defense. Again, we've never had anybody act inappropriately in these events, so I'm not too worried about that. When I click on Bob's name here, notice that I can invite him to a video call, I can schedule a meeting with him, or I can send him a message. So if there's somebody that you want to follow up with privately, this is a really good way to do it, is to find their name under people, and then you can invite them to a video call. And hopefully I didn't send that, but anyway, you can, and then there actually will be a link to a room where where you can have that meeting. You don't have to go to a separate platform. So I think I just did send that to him. He's probably going to be like, what? Anyway, so just realize that you have these networking tools that are available to you, and that's under people. Okay, so that is the platform. Any questions about the platform so far? And then I'll wrap up with the toolkit.
Just back to the stages again, Lucy.
Yeah.
Some of the interactive tools that you talked about in the sessions, will any of them be available?
I don't think they're in the stages. There's not confetti and things like that.
It's just basic.
It's there's some different layouts, but most people are not going to be on stages, so I won't stress out about it. It's
okay. Yeah.
There's different layouts for the speakers. I don't think there's anything like kind of cutesy or like people can put emojis in the chat, but on the stages you can bring up questions from the audience.
Yeah.
That look like kind of that click me banner. So
but in terms of sharing your screen and stuff like that,
you can share your screen and you can share a video, and it works very similarly to a session room.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we have a site. Anybody else have any questions about the platform? Okay. So we do have a site that hopefully you've gotten an email about. And it's a toolkit that I've built in a tool called Notion. And it has everything that you could want and more, or not want and more. And I've tried to chunk it so that it's digestible for people. So you don't have to follow everything in here by, to the letter. Most of this content is suggestions and detailed information for people who really want details. So you'll see that there's a tab for training sessions. And so the recording from this will go in there after when I have had time to process it. So if you click on training sessions, you're going to see a link to a button that will go to the presentation I showed earlier. And then you also will see a toggle that will show the embedded video from earlier and our recap of the event. So if this is training session number 2, there'll be a tab here for that this afternoon, and you can review anything and look at the notes and that sort of thing. So there's other information in here. Kind of essential links are under important links, how to enter the conference, where to get support. There's a presentation section of the RingCentral support site, where to book your session, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Your room links will be in here by May 1st, so that you can go in and play with that. I also have made a very detailed presenter's checklist of things to do. And, it's up to you whether you want to do these tasks or not. It's just some suggestions for people who are who want more support and want more, um, they want to make sure that they're completely prepared. So anything that you need should be in here. So you may want to bookmark this site for future reference. I also have set up a WhatsApp group that you can join and get more, just in time information from me if you need it for any reason. If you're not a WhatsApp user, that's totally fine. You don't need to join it, but it's kind of a nice way leading up to the conference, particularly, right before the event, to share information and to get to know some of your fellow presenters as well. It's completely optional. You don't need to use it unless you want to. We also have some social media um, um, hashtags and our posts that you can use if you want to. But then I know I don't see where it is here. There are some graphics for the conference, and I don't know where. I thought I put them on that toolkit page. I'll find them and I'll make sure that they're there. They're linked in other places, but we do have a couple of graphics that you can use if you're looking to promote this going forward. And the link to this is, let me give you the short link, and I'll put it in the chat. That's the link to the toolkit, and that should have everything that you need. Any final questions or concerns, or you want to talk about content or anything like that? I'm happy to share ideas.
Another quick one from me.
Yeah.
You mentioned in that to-do list sending the presentations through in advance. Do we have to have a presentation? Because I
No,
prefer
no.
just to
If
talk.
you're not going to use slides, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Cool.
I'm totally okay. I think it's nice when people have slides, but it's not required. One of the best keynotes I've seen in person was a while ago by a guy named Jim Fruchterman, who is a MacArthur genius. And he invented OCR technology, which is the technology that allows you to scan something and turn the text into editable text. He has a nonprofit called Benetech that does a lot of social good around the world. And he spoke at a conference that I helped with here in Illinois, and he had no slides, but he was so animated and moved around and lively, like he didn't need them. He was such a great storyteller, um, that he didn't need that prop. So it's up to you totally how you want to structure this. If you want it to be conversational, that's fine too. Just be aware that who knows how many people will be in your room. So prepare for whatever scenario you imagine.
But you're saying if we do have slides for a general session, do you need those, or will we just share them?
No, you do not have to have them. You do not need to share them with me. I don't need to approve them or anything. Yeah, totally. It's up to you whatever you want to do. We don't want to curtail this. The model that I've used for these kinds of events for years has really been about inclusivity. We've made events so that I used to do these once focus on education with another partner, and we really focused on not making it super elitist in terms of like vetting people. As long as things were relatively coherent and sounded like they'd be valuable to our audience, we wanted people to be part of it. And we wanted people also to go through the process of presenting, because it makes people, it's a little daunting, but once people get through it, they feel a little bit more confident in their skills, and they're excited about connecting with other people. And so we really wanted others to have that kind of experience. And so we've scaffolded the kind of process so that it builds up to that. Um, and you know, people will vote with their feet for sure, in terms of the sessions that they go to and what they expect for presentations. But we really, I think managing people's expectations in terms of um, how empowered people are is interesting. I remember one year we had a guy from Oman presenting, and he had missed his time. And I had said to our volunteers that were helping, I don't have time to rebook his session. He missed it. Oh well. And one of our volunteers took him into a conference room and helped him record without an audience. And it turns out he was in his full um, native regalia, and he had gone to an internet cafe and was prepared to present. And it was a big deal for him. And so I appreciated how our volunteer didn't diminish that. Like, she made it possible for him to present, even though he didn't have an audience. People could watch it later, and it was a big deal to him. So I I um I think those kinds of opportunities are going to have those are going to happen, and it's great. And to be supportive of each other and cheering each other on, no matter our skill level or our organization, I think is really kind of cool. So I can't wait to hear your stories and get to know your work better as part of the charter. And I think it will be an amazing event.
Are you saying you think the expo booth is not going to run?
I don't think so, because we only have one sponsor.
Okay.
So, and that's a feature that we offer to our sponsors. And the organization that is sponsoring, it's a group out of Canada that does gender equality work. And they really just want to tell their story and get in touch with people. They're not particularly interested in the booth. I'm going to talk to them. They just indicated that they're going to sponsor yesterday. So I'm going to talk to them next week and see if they're going to have a booth. The way the booths work it's interesting. You can put up a video, you can put up a presentation, or you can have a session room attached to your booth to meet with people. And you can swap those three elements in and out as you see fit. In my education conferences that I've run, we've had dedicated booth time for people to not go to sessions, but to go to the expo. And that's helped attendance. But in general, the booths don't get a ton of traffic. You have to build interactivity into that. You have to have a dedicated time for it, and you have to make a reason for people to go to it. One of my education sponsors, at the end of every presentation they said, come to our booth and meet us. And so they got a really good turnout of people who just came in to say hello, and it was very casual, and they were really happy with how many people came. So, think about too the quality of relationships and the quality of conversations you're going to have at this event, as opposed to like huge numbers. I think you're going to find a dedicated audience that will that will lead to other opportunities and serendipitous opportunities, hopefully. So anyway, so the expos, I would love it if there were more people doing it. Maybe next year, once people see how this thing works, there'll be more time for that. Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for coming. I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to learning from you. And if you have any more questions, let me know. There's going to be another daytime session next week. And then in May, I'm doing evening hours, and you can come to any of them or none of them. And you can also contact me if you want to do a one-on-one going through anything. I'd be happy to accommodate you if you need that support. Okay.
So much.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Lucy.
All right. Break a leg, everyone.
Seems
Take
like
care.
you're plateful.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll be busy for a while, but I'm happy to do it. It's awesome.
That's
All right.
great.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.